I don't even know where to start. We just got some crazy big news in the NCAA world, in the basketball world. First and foremost, if you know me, Pee-wee the Plug, Big Stacks Bazingas, 1/4 through the wire. You know I'm an advocate college basketball watcher. I'm an avid college basketball supporter. I'm the one guy on the podcast that keeps up with it and loves it just as much as I love the NBA. I've been preaching to my co-hosts to watch it and get involved, especially when it comes down to scouting and getting ready for the draft and, you know, the prospect boards and mock drafts, you know, comparisons. I just love all of that. So I'm a big time college basketball fan. I've been watching college basketball all my life. And I'm also happen to be a fan of Memphis. Me being a fan of Memphis University goes all the way back to when Derrick Rose was in college. And, you know, from my hometown, Chicago, and he went there, and I was a big fan of him, obviously, but I was also a big fan of John Calipari. I just loved the way that Memphis played. Even before Derrick Rose got there, they had Chris Douglas-Roberts, and I was a big fan of him, and they were just a fun team to watch. And then when you add Derrick Rose to the mix, you know, Joey Dorsey, Robert Dozier, it was just a real exciting team to watch, and they was dominating, and of course lost the final game in the national championship. Shout out to Mario Chalmers. I'd hate him still for making that shot. But after John Calipari had left and went to Kentucky, I kind of lost my ties to Memphis. They still had Kevin Pastner or Josh Pastner as the coach, and the team was still solid. It was, you know, it was cool or whatever, but it just wasn't the same. And I had kind of bounced around supporting different teams and just mainly supporting players. I was supporting UCLA a lot because I had, you know, was a big fan of Tyler Honeycutt, RIP. Kyle Anderson, Zach LaVine, so I was kind of rooting for them. Duke had some guys I liked, and I was just kind of supporting teams that had players that I liked and whatever. So then when Penny Hardaway came back into the limelight, I guess you would say, because he had kind of went quiet for a while. Penny came back and was coaching, and then he got the head coaching job for Memphis. So it made me real excited. It got me real, you know, hopeful for Memphis University. And then it was my favorite player of all time, you know, coaching. So of course I'm going to support him and what he's doing. So then I got tied back into Memphis. They had Mike Miller on the coaching staff. So it was real cool. And as everybody know, if you're into the college, you know, circuit or what's going on, Memphis just had the #1 recruiting class in Penny Hardaway's second year as the head coach. You know, the first year was cool, whatever, just his first year, so it was no big deal. But then that first full year of him being able to recruit as the head coach, he brought back the #1 recruiting class. James Wiseman, as you know, is the #1 player in the class. It was no surprise when he committed to Memphis because he had been playing with been playing with Penny Hardaway's AAU team before that. And they had played with Penny Hardaway's son, and they both had committed to Memphis. That was no surprise. The biggest surprise was that all of the other players came, like Boogie Ellis, you know, Precious Achua, you know what I mean, DJ Jeffries, to formulate this #1 recruiting class and outdo Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke. That was the main big thing. The surprise of James Wiseman going there initially was not a big deal because he had already had ties to Penny Hardaway and Penny Hardaway's son Jaden, who's also a part of the Memphis men's college basketball team as well. But I was sitting here playing the game, was playing Xbox. I was playing my NBA 2K20 My League series with the Detroit Pistons, working on some videos to drop for y'all in the next couple days. And all of a sudden my phone goes off, and I get a notification from Bleacher Report, obviously through the wire, Woodward House of Highlights, through Bleacher Report, so all one big family. So of course I got their stuff on my phone ready to go and give me all the information that I need. So then I look at my phone. James Wiseman has been ruled ineligible by the NCAA. So I stop what I'm doing, and I'm confused. I'm looking at my phone like, what possible reason could he be ineligible? He just played the first game. Now, I know a lot of y'all may not be into college basketball at a certain level. You may watch it, may see some names of the, you know, the McDonald's All-Americans or the highly touted players, I understand. But for the history of being ineligible and all those type of things, and, you know, whether guys are taking money or doing stuff under the table, whether it's just an academic reason. But a lot of times when a highly touted player becomes ineligible, there's rumors, rumblings, whispers before the season even starts that kind of get people, you know, attention. Like there's some type of like feel or thought that this could happen. There's some type of potential. The reason this is so big and so surprising and shocking to me is that we didn't hear anything about it before it happened. James Wiseman just played in Memphis' first game and had a hell of a game. He played in the very first game. So for him to play in that game a couple days ago and all of a sudden at the snap of fingers being eligible is kind of one of the weirdest things ever. I can name a bunch of players and a bunch of situations where the summer came, the person had been committed to that school, and you might hear something like, oh, they're trying to see if there's some investigations, or oh, there could be some academic issues. Like, there's some talk about potentially being ineligible. It never just comes out of nowhere. You know, it has been rare moments when it has, but it's very unusual for a player to actually suit up, play, and then all of a sudden in 2 days or a day later he's ineligible. Usually we'll hear some rumblings and something is not sure. So a lot of times you'll even see a highly touted player be with his team, but he won't play, he won't suit up because they don't know, and they're just kind of like playing it safe. So they're like, don't play him, we'll make the decision after we get all the details or whatever. But for him to have gone out there and played and all of a sudden days later, this is all confusing. But my phone go off, whatever, and Bleacher Report doesn't have any details on the notification that they put on my phone. So I open my Twitter, and I'm already being mentioned by a lot of my supporters because they know I'm a Penny Hardaway guy. They know I support Memphis, and they had seen me talking about Memphis throughout the summer and up to this 2 days ago when they first played on Tuesday. So they're tweeting me and tagging me in this tweet that Woj made because Woj provided details. So Woj says the NCAA has ruled Memphis /center James Wiseman, a possible number 1 overall pick in 2020 NBA draft, ineligible, his lawyer said in Memphis. Here we go. Memphis coach Penny Hardaway assisted Wiseman and his family's move to Memphis in 2008, attorney Leslie Ballin said in a news conference, and the NCAA has deemed Hardaway as a booster. So now initially, me and all my supporters are going in on the NCAA. We're talking shit about them, you know, telling them how crazy they are, how fucked up this is. And we're doing this because the tweet Woj initially put out has 2008. So in our minds, we're just taking the information that we have and that we're given. We're thinking that Penny Hardaway, 12 years ago, helped James Wiseman's family, and now that the NCAA is coming in to do something about it, way before Penny Hardaway was a coach, way before James Wiseman was the number 1 player or even a teenager. So we're like, how the hell can y'all penalize them for something that was done 12 years ago when James Wiseman was nowhere near he's not even he's a baby damn near still. Then a couple minutes later, Woj simply quotes his tweet and tells us that he meant 2018. How the hell does Woj put out such a big tweet without proofreading to make a mistake and say 2008 versus 2018 beats the hell out of me? But it happened. And now, basically, that's just what it is. I don't have any more details than that right now. So, you know, bear with me. I'm just reacting as, you know, a basketball mind, a basketball insider, whatever you want to call me, an analyst. And then I'm also speaking from the viewpoint of a fan, you know, not just a Memphis fan and a Penny Hardaway fan and just a fan of that program, but also a fan of college basketball. You know what I mean? We had a hell of an opening night. We had a hell of an opening week. It was real exciting. A lot of players doing their thing. It's always fun when the college basketball season rolls back around. You know what I mean? Definitely super exciting when we get down to March Madness. But it's just always that fun, unique start to the season when you got so many different prospects, so many different guys with so much potential. You're looking at the NBA standings already, 10 games in, and we're talking about who could go where, who's going to have this pick. It's just fun. You're scouting, you're making, you know, player comparisons, and just all of that. It's just that excitement of a real basketball fan. And now, you know, here we go again, having a situation where the NCAA comes in and tries to do too much and kind of take that fun and that excitement that we all had and take it away. And what I really want to do is I don't really want to bash the NCAA. You know what I mean? I don't really want to be unfair. I don't want to be crazy because I understand it. You know, there's rules in everything that we do in life, and you always have to abide by the rules. I completely understand. But my main thing with the NCAA is, you know, you keep, you know, punishing these players and these programs for certain things that they're doing, but you're kind of putting them in a position where they have to do it. You know what I mean? They really have to do it. In order to get to the NBA, y'all implemented a system that they have to go through y'all. There was once upon a time where guys could go straight out of high school and they never have to cross paths with the NCAA ever, and they could just do exactly what they want to do. So then, if a player is cheating, then when he had a choice to go straight to the NBA, he had a choice to make money off of his name, straight out of high school, then I get it. But when y'all force and implement y'all selves to these young men who just want to play basketball and just live out their dreams to go to the NBA, it's mind-blowing how y'all still have such strict rules and just I don't even know. It's just hard for me to explain, because it's just like, first of all, the players can't make any money. They can't profit off of anything. We're following these teams and we're watching these games on ESPN, ESPN2, CBS. We're tuning in to these programs and to these channels and giving them ratings to watch these specific players. If James Wiseman isn't at Memphis, we're probably not going to turn Memphis on ESPN. You know what I mean? If Lonzo Ball didn't go to UCLA that one year, the ratings that UCLA had, nobody would have given a fuck. UCLA was on ESPN every night when Zoe was there. Now you look at UCLA, I wasn't even able to find their fucking game because they ain't shit right now. So these players impact these programs and these ratings for these guys to get TV time. Then you have these companies like Nike, Jordan, Adidas who are sponsoring these programs. You have these players wearing it as promo. You know what I mean? James Harden ain't wearing Adidas for free. Derrick Rose ain't wearing Adidas for free. LeBron James ain't wearing Nikes for free. But you have these elite players with followings. I'm talking about some of these guys have damn near millions of followers on Instagram. And y'all putting these different brands and these logos on these players' bodies and letting them promote these things for free. They can't, you know what I mean? You got colleges selling merchandise with these players' numbers. As a young kid in high school, I bought a Duke jersey that was number 0. I bought that because it represented Austin Rivers. I didn't buy that because it was a Duke jersey. I bought it because I wanted to support Austin Rivers, the player, the likeness of him. I wanted Austin Rivers jersey, not a Duke jersey, Austin Rivers, which means that Austin Rivers went to Florida, which he had initially committed to. I would have bought that same damn jersey if it had Florida on it. Not because I'm supporting the program, but because I'm supporting that player. And year after year they do this. They got posters with these guys' names on it. These guys are doing, you know, all type of stuff and events and charity things. You know what I mean? On top of that, you want them to be academically held responsible, so they have to have a certain amount of grades, because then they'll be ineligible academically. They're doing that. They're practicing crazy. They're traveling crazy. Then you're putting them on these programs like ESPN, and they're not getting anything. They're not getting anything. And the NCAA's argument to that is that they're getting a free education, when the NCAA know damn well a lot of these guys are going to be one and done. If not one and done, they'll come back for a sophomore season because they're just trying to get to the NBA. And the only reason they even fucking with y'all or even touching y'all fucking establishment is because y'all made them. You literally made the NBA and NCAA literally are making these people go that route. Yeah, there's a choice that you can go overseas, but what 17-year-old person wants to leave their environment that they're accustomed to, the United States, and move all the way overseas? And you know, you're out there speaking different languages, you out there with different food, it's a different way of life, it's different laws. That's a lot for a 17 or teenager to have to deal with just to try to chase their dreams. There's so many different other sports where, you know what I mean, I don't want to get too specific, where it don't matter. You know what I mean? These golfers, I didn't see no rule for a golfer to go professional. I don't know any hockey rules where guys got to go professional. You got MLB where guys don't have to go to college. There's an option. But you have some African-American dominated sport where a lot of these guys have to go a particular route, which doesn't really make sense to me. You know what I mean? And you know, a lot of guys don't even have the benefits or the luxury to be able to go and finance themselves properly to go over to overseas, you know, to bring their family with them. So a lot of these guys are out there with a singular family member, maybe a brother, maybe an agent, and are out there trying to grind. And you know, the overseas style of basketball is way different than it is over here. You know what I mean? You look at a lot of the top overseas guys, when they get drafted, and you look at the draft profile, they're not playing a certain minutes. They're not playing, you know, a lot of minutes because they have certain rules and conditions that they abide by. You know, especially the higher and more serious the leagues are over there, the less, you know, a lot of American players go over there and just fully play. You know, it ain't like that. You know, you look at Emmanuel Moutier's story, he wasn't going over there playing 30 or high minutes, and, you know, he was up and down with his playing time in this situation. You can go do your research on that, but yeah, it's real cutthroat. Brandon Jennings was saying some nights he wasn't getting paid, and I'm telling you, it's a whole different world over there, and they're trying to force teenagers to either abide by their rules or to kind of be extorted to a certain degree, or they have to go all the way out of America. You know what I mean? Luckily or hopefully, if they have the means or the funds to go over there with a certain amount of family members, hopefully they can. But if not, then you're putting them out there kind of by themselves and telling them to really fend for themselves or just survive and also deal with all of that. Plus the pressure of performing to be a high level overall player, because all of those guys, if you're going overseas to go to the NBA, you're trying to be a top 5 or a lottery pick, projected pick. So it's just a lot of different things that they're doing that kind of makes it just bogus. And that's really my thing with the NCAA is you're setting people up for failure. And then last but not least, I mean, you're really hurting yourselves. You know what I mean? Because a lot of guys, you're going to put them in, a lot of guys are going to look at these type of situations and they're going to go overseas, like a LaMelo, like RJ Hampton. We're seeing, like Terrence Ferguson. We're seeing more and more guys do it. When Brandon Jennings did it, he did it because he was academically ineligible to play for Arizona. And he was like, "It's no way in hell I'm sitting out an entire year, and then I'm coming back another year. Like it's no way. I'm trying to get to the NBA." So when he did it, was real rare. But then we started seeing, now we're seeing guys do it more and more. And it's not even just like when Terrence Ferguson did it was like, oh, Terrence Ferguson, I know that name, but he wasn't a premier player. RJ Hampton and LaMelo Ball are premier players out of this class. So 2 premier players in 1 year go over there and doing it. You know what I mean? We're going to start to see a trend. And then if those guys successfully do it and come back over here and are high projected picks, it's crazy. If LaMelo maintains, and LaMelo has been going over there killing, they're saying he's going to be the #1 pick. But if he maintains this thing, it'll be big. But if he not only does his thing, but RJ Hampton, he doesn't even have to be as high as Melo. But if RJ Hampton is somewhere near, like the lottery as well, if both of those guys become lottery picks, it's going to be a lot of guys that's going to be looking into doing that route, especially with this James Wiseman bullshit that just occurred. And that's just what it is, man. That's just really what it is. It just feels like the NCAA are trapping these young men into, basically forcing them to play college basketball. Because honestly speaking, come on, man. 17, 18-year-old is not really trying to move into, an overseas place that they've never been, out of their comfort zone, don't speak the English, don't know the money, the food is different, you know what I mean, away from your family, away from your friends and all the things that you're accustomed to. You're not watching the NBA games and having, the channels and then the schedule and, it's 2 different times of the world. What 17 or 18-year-old is really trying to do all of that to get to the NBA? So obviously a lot of guys are going to be like, I'm going to college so I can stay at home, still be in contact with my family and friends. My parents are just a couple of hours away, whether they live in the state that I'm in, or if they want to get on a plane, they're still close, or if they wanted to move to where I'm at, it wouldn't be to move from Chicago to somewhere overseas is way crazier than to move to Chicago to Memphis. You know what I mean? Just to put that in perspective. So it's kind of putting these guys in a situation where they have to play, college basketball. And, sometimes you have, fortunate people like a LaMelo where the LaMelo's transition will be easy. You know what I mean? A little easier. I'm sure it has its challenges, but, LaMelo comes from a family that is well off. He has a brother in the NBA. He has a dad who's able to move around with him and a family that can to stop what they're doing and move that. A lot of players aren't that fortunate. A lot of players are trying to get to the NBA because their family is on hard times. So for you to try to, move your mom or ask your mom to leave what she's doing, and you might have little brothers and sisters, and your mom is working a job or 2 and doing all of these things to try to, make ends meet, it will be hard for her to stop doing everything she's doing. And then you also don't want to put that pressure on your family. Your siblings and your other family members, they have lives of their own that they have relationships and things that they've built at home. You don't want them to have to pick up and move all of those things. So to even put all of that type of burden on a family or on a teenage boy is just out of control. And my thinking is we're going to get to a certain level where a lot of these players and a lot of these kids are going to be scared to do anything. You know what I mean? And it's going to be real bad. I'm talking about, I played for plenty of coaches. Even in high school, I had a coach that was like, man, I'm going to reward y'all for defense. So if y'all hold a team under 30 points or under 40 points, y'all get a pizza party. It's going to be people who ain't really going to even want to do that no more. Because it's like, damn. He took some pizza from, they used to feed him. It was on a meal plan. It's just like, you know what I mean? And I played basketball at a lot of high levels. My brother has played at high levels. My younger brother is playing at a high level for his age. My dad is well known around where we're from. and he played, you know, Division I basketball. And being a good basketball player, it's always meant that you get incentives. It's always been what it is. That's why the NBA players, they get paid millions of dollars, because that's just the way it is. When you play good and you're great at something, you just get the hookup. I've got plenty of pair of free basketball shoes, or free shorts, or, you know, an arm sleeve or headbands from being in different situations or whatever. It was nothing. Nobody was trying to recruit me. I was never the top player in the state, but because I was one of the best players on my team, or because I did my thing, it's just what it is. When you're good at certain things and you make connections, people look out for you. It's just a simple thing. Nobody was making money off of me. You know what I mean? I was just a kid hooping. Me and my brothers was just hooping. But you get a pair of shoes here, or you get a little half off there, or somebody hook you over with some NBA shorts or some college shorts. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. It's always been that way. It's always been that way. You play for somebody's team and you do your thing, they take you to go get something to eat. You know what I mean? They get the whole team Gatorades. That's just what it always been. And, you know, they're ruining that with all of this. And again, I understand. I'm all for the rules. I know rules, you know, are supposed to be intact and nobody's above the law, whatever. But you can't enforce these type of rules when you put people in situations where they have to do certain things. If James Wiseman was making money off of his name or off of his likeness, Penny Hardaway never would have had to help his family with shit. But instead, the NCAA, you know, is going to continue to put these different. And I know the rule change happened, which was cool, and you like to see that type of movement progress. But it's just a damn shame that we even have to have going through this. You know what I mean? Like, my cousin Javon is in the NBA right now. When that thing came out that they're going to start allowing people to you know, get paid off their likeness or use their likeness, he was like, damn, I wonder how much money I would have made then. You know what I mean? Because he was just in college 2 years ago. So, you know, it's sad. You know, it's a shame, and it's still interesting to see how this stuff is going to go on, even with the new thing being passed. Like, how long is that going to take to happen? What does that even mean? Are they really going to be getting paid, or can they just use their likeness? Can they, like, sign autographs? But are they going to be able to profit from number 5 jersey, aka their jersey, being sold through your website, on the school's website? Are they going to get a piece of that? Is that what that means? Or is it, he can sign an autograph and make money off of it? Because if that's the case, then that's just bullshit. You know what I mean? And I just think it could be way deeper. If you think of all of the money these people make off, you know, March Madness, off of the merchandise, the ticket sales, Memphis ticket sales are going to be crazy. They have the #1 recruiting class. I don't know, man. I'm done. I'm ranting. I'm going off. I appreciate y'all for coming through and listening to me. This is a video for all of my people that feel the same way and just tired of the unfairness for these kids. And, you know, hopefully I was able to put some details in there to really make y'all think about it in another light. Because I know it's gonna be a lot of people like, well, you shouldn't took the money, different things. But you know what I mean? When you really sit back and think about the options, you know, I put that in air quotes because that's what they try. That's their defense. Oh, they had options. They can go overseas. But if you really think about all of the stuff I talked about and elaborated on, about like a 17-year-old, 18-year-old really having to decide to move, you know, overseas and deal with all that and still, you know, fight the pressure of trying to perform, you know, because that's just one burden on itself. But then moving your family and uprooting your family and moving them overseas, and think about that, and think about how crazy that is, and then think about the other sports that's professional and what they require and what they make their players do, and think about what race or, you know, who dominates those sports. And it's not to make it a racial thing, but, you know, it just is what it is. Basketball is a African American dominated sport, and we're kind of the only sport that requires college. I mean, besides football, but the reason football does is because, you know, it's just a 17-year-old should not be on the field with a 25-year-old getting tackled helmet to helmet. That's just body reasons. But if you look at baseball, hockey, golf, tennis, NASCAR, it's crazy. But thank y'all for watching. Pee Wee the Plug, Big Stacks Bazingas. I am